Well, that's me, a fresh graduate from university, wondering in my little head, is this building ugly?
It's not my cup of tea.
Honestly, it's such a depressing place.
I love the design hub.
The lift buttons. The bloody lift buttons. They never work.
It looks like shit.
I kind of like it.
I'm kind of sick, ain't it?
The design hub is depression.
Like a gloomy experience.
I'm at the design hub so often, even my Google Maps thinks I live there.
Leaving it, entering it, I always feel depressed looking at it.
It's a big, oppressive
Godsell. Don't even get me started on
really
the
like
stairs. My tutor
My
made
mood
me
just changes
spend
like
12
instantly.
weeks
Or like,
doing
come
Google
close
and the building
to it,
in
like
fact
the
we're
hub.
studying
My mood just
is
changes
written into code.
like the hub is just shit. Bang. This is where dreams don't
I
come
really
true.
like it.
Low key, like the hub would have been better without the circles. That's my thought.
Studying is written to code.
box. That's how I feel.
But why do so many people think this? What is the reason why so many find it just repulsive? Or do people simply not just get it? Well, its history is truly a puzzling and interesting tale, but what goes on inside is even more scintillating than what's on the outside.
See, because it's not any regular building, it's in fact an architecture school. The very one I attended all those years ago.
That being last year. Inside this building, you'll find that it's inhabited by various design and artsy people, but mostly by architecture students, a rather unusual group of people who stray not too far from the common hippie to the average psychopath. Now, these cheery folk, whose combined hours of sleep are equivalent to that of a single episode of 60 Minutes, inhabit this cold steel box.
Lovingly referred to the space as Building 100, but students call it by a different name.
Chapter 1. Present, Sleep, Work, Repeat. Now, the design hub didn't always look like this and wasn't even intended to be where it is today. See, the original brief was to readapt the Capitol Theatre, a small theatre designed by Marion Mahoney and Walter Bailey Griffin, a pair of architects who practiced alongside Frank Lloyd Wright and designed this theatre just down the road. And while this building they created is very much charming and full of exceptional 20th century details, its renovation went tremendously well. But because we're in Australia, it didn't. It was absolutely butchered, gutted, and refitted with horrendous furnishings. But suffice it to say, the theatre still exists, and ditched the original concept of a school for it. But no biggie, right? We'll just rehash that plan for a different site, different building, with a different set of needs and attributes that don't conform to what was originally written. That should be absolutely fine, right? Now, keep in mind, this original brief was told to me by my professor back in the day, who allegedly wrote the original brief for this very building. And given he talked the majority of the time in riddles and rhymes, this may or may not be apocryphal. But for our sakes, let's keep going. So, the building was built, the original school was moved, saving the average architecture student about -2 minutes to walk from the tram stop, and voila! The new School of Architecture. And when it debuted, boy, did it make a splash.
Design, innovation, wonder, a place of wonder, a form that inspires, reimagining spatial norms, a contemporary hub of architectural design, a space where one doesn't land but lives in, where dreams are made into a reality. Architecture that captures the time of now, a new dawn, a new sensation. Steel and glass harmoniously coexist, inside and out. Passive.
What a load of shit. Architectural design up my ass. They didn't talk about bloody circles popping out the building. Oh yeah, that happened.
Chapter 2, Look Out, the Sky is Falling. While the Design Hub was definitely a unique and bizarre building when it debuted, most people found it rather, well, mundane, and to be quite frank, ugly. To understand why it looks like this, you naturally point your finger at the person that designed it. And that's exactly what we're going to do too. This is Sean Godsell. Unlike me, Mr. Godsell is an actual architect with a very much real buildings, a firm with a whole team of people, a loving family, a house which he designed. Yeah, that thing is his house, which I would never go to personally.
Oh yeah, I totally would.
Not to mention, he's also a literal gold award winner for the Australian Architects Association, which, if you don't know, is like getting an Oscar in the architecture field. I guess getting an Oscar in the current day and era. And he seems just about suited enough to be the architect to design the literal school of architecture. So, what went wrong? Well, to be quite frank, nothing. This is what it's supposed to look like. See, you would have noticed Mr. Godsell seems to have rather strong affliction to circles. I mean, look at his website. And this isn't the first time he's done something like this, nor was the last time. Now, there's nothing wrong with circles. I do love a good circle from time to time. It just seems he's pretty adamant on it. Adamant enough to put about over 700 of the bloody things on the facade. These circles have a nifty design feature, acting as a double-skin facade that blocks sunlight glaring and also make for a great rock climbing wall. And they were originally supposed to rotate with the sunlight shifting during the daytime as an operable design. Now, that sounds awesome and incredible, and to be quite honest, a really amazing design feature, but you would have noticed I used the word originally. That's because they had the tendency to pop off. Quite literally. They nearly killed 2 people. But with that happening, they essentially put up the scaffolding once again and essentially had to fix all 700 circles back into place, which is quite a nuisance. Now, luckily, nobody got hurt while these circles were falling off, but to give an idea of what that would look like, we have done a little simulation to showcase exactly what would happen. But besides its problematic exterior, you know what they say. Don't judge a book by its cover, because its interior is a completely different world. Inside, you'll find the design hub is closer to some surreal prison like the ones depicted by Piranesi than a typical building, with a total of 10 levels spanning from the dungeons below to all the way to its rooftop pavilions. Its greatest and most dramatic feature is this Egyptian-like stairway, descending 3 levels that make you feel like you're walking in the Grand Gallery of Khufu, but instead of leading to some pharaoh's tomb, it takes you to the printers and the only vending machine in the whole building. This subterranean level holds laboratories, storage facilities, and ramp access into the building. Above this is the gallery, a large open space for exhibits that generally gets incredibly cramped during exhibition, making you feel like you're in a mosh pit at a Travis Scott concert. Confusingly, the ground level is labeled as level 3, fitted with the most uncomfortable chairs on this earth and a nifty clock to tell students exactly how late they are upon entry. If you thought below was creepy enough, the several layers above are even more so. Eerie corridors, the groans of metal walls, and stark lighting all help make you feel even more at home. The only dashes of color come from the IKEA set furniture stationed at the end of each level, but despite its cold and desolate appearance, it does have lavish facilities with students mingling, plants flourishing the space to remind people that life can still live here, and its circular facade eventually warms up to you. But maybe this criticism is rather harsh, and who am I to say that rusty steel windows aren't in fashion? And well, Mr. Godsell did say that people would either love this building or hate it. Well, I think I found 2 people who fit that point.
It has all the connotations and trademarks of an asylum and prison. If you loosely describe a prison, the design hub checks all the boxes. It was my worst enemy. It is honestly a sound chamber where the screams and cries of people losing their minds and files echo out across the floors. If I was to imagine the person who would come up with this masterpiece, I'd picture a creepy, bitter old man that manages a cafe or diner, micromanaging their teenage staff. The tutors have no capacity to understand anything, period. Anything beyond themselves, at least. The abuse and mental strain I experienced from that place was unfathomable to the average uni student. Depression central. Can't believe I stuck through that torture.
I think most of the people actually hate this building because the course has been set up that you start to learn how to criticise buildings, and this is the first building people will see when they start criticising, so it's just natural to start criticising it. It's easier to say something bad about a building than say something good because, well, we're taught to critique, and most people think critiquing is actually just criticising. And most critiques aren't actually involving the architectural features of the building anyway, so it's mostly just about the vibes and the atmosphere. And like I said, this building would be a perfect club with bases everywhere. Well, I think this building is quite successful in a way that it brings people together. It's quite open plan. No, it's not open plan. That's a house. It's quite a bland building actually, like just blank walls. And imagine if this was a club, it'd be quite successful. If it was like a club and everyone was dancing around and like boom, 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 music everywhere. Imagine going up the stairs and there's a big bass going on. This building could be anything and it would still work. It's a bit cold sometimes, but sometimes cold things bring people together, like an ice party or, yeah, a cold drink on a summer day. It's kind of what this building is. You can be anything you want it to be. It's just people are sad because they don't like what they're doing or studying. From my experience with Sean Godsell, which is a lot of like some YouTube videos, I've seen his face next to his house. I've been to his house, had a cup of tea with him. Take that out, it's not true, redacted. From what he said you either love this building or you hate this building, which is the most cliched thing to say, to be honest. Like people say that about something that's really polarizing because they know everyone hates it, but they just love to live in the illusion that some people like it. But saying that line is, I think in the end it is right. I've heard like one person say how much they love the building, and a lot of people really do hate it. For founded reasons and unfounded reasons. They put roofing on the roof. No, that doesn't make sense. They put flooring on the roof, which is like quite radical. And imagine if that fell on you. I got lost one day trying to find my classroom because there's no distinguishing features, and you find a lot of lost people around here asking where their class is, so. They asked me, where's that column? And I'm like, oh, there's a column on every floor. The sound is really bad. You have tutors telling you off when you're in class because you're getting taught that it's too loud. But I think if you had like a club in here, this would be a pretty cool building. It's just really the program of the building. I think it's not really the building. It's not really the tutors. It's not just buildings. It's how buildings make you feel. It's emotions to it. So what feeling through his remarks, I didn't say, but he's feeling emotion. He's feeling a feeling building up inside him. That is this architecture inside him. It's a mentality. It's a dream. It's life. Like I said, it's just, if this place was a club, just joking.
Cheery words indeed, but maybe my sentiment to this building is a bit harsh. It's not half bad for the only architecture school in Melbourne. Then again, there is one more architecture school, but how could that be? Holy shit! This is the Glyn Davis Building, otherwise known as the Melbourne School of Design, aka MSD. And it's pretty much down the road from Building 100. You'll notice it's a completely different building, obviously, and that landscape is the typical university campus rather than that of the cityscape. It was designed by Wardell Architects and similarly enough is a bustling hub of design, albeit in a much different setting. It has its own library, a design workshop with faulty displays, an open gallery, a creepy odd room on level 5 with ominous messages on the wall, and stairs. So many stairs. Seriously, they're everywhere. There's like bloody Hogwarts in here. But its most major difference to Le Hub is its massive atrium space, illuminated by huge skylights at the very top, which brings light to all the various levels and mezzanines down below, but mostly to the large workspace at the very bottom, which is much different to the typical office layout of university buildings. Externally, you'll find that the building and its surrounding spaces are filled with places to interact and converse in. Clashing facades and strange walls all curate for a vivid environment students congregate and traverse through. It's a strange change that oddly feels pleasant and, well, peaceful. I mean, just look at it.
Wow, fuck me. What a strange building. Absolutely I say it, wonderful. They seem to have less flaws than us, but yet somehow are a better building. It's absolutely baffling.
Now, you might say what you will about this building, but you can't help but feel fully immersed in this space. Sure, its open atrium means everyone can see what you're doing at the very bottom, and if you were to ever start crashing out, everyone could watch you like some Colosseum spectacle. And so what if it's a little louder inside because of that? And, well, I guess there's no real private zones within the atrium, and that steel netting prevents students from testing out their feather-falling boots from the third floor. But then again, its facilities and cultures seems more or less adapted for this kind of space.
I think what's so different about this building is that it's partially designed by students and all the amenities seem to be, well, much better. Sure, are the designs a bit stranger? Maybe. But overall, seems to have everything.
Massive elevator.
And it looks like the culture here just seems more homely, really.
But as my informant once said,
Building could be a club and they'd all love it.
that's the wrong clip.
I think if you have a good building, you're stuck in that mindset of the style of the building. You need something blank, something with nothing, or something you really hate, because you're not going to design that style if you really hate it. Maybe that's the problem with these other unis, they just go for something really designed, because they're just designed in that style. Like, what style is this building? It's blank. Well, it is a style, but like, I feel like independent thought comes through being in something you hate.
Which I suppose is a nice way of saying that a crappy building inspires someone to design a not so much crappy building.
I think most of all, what's so insane about this building is that all the people there seem like they want to, God forbid, actually be there. Unlike Building 100, nobody seems really mopey, and it's a strange, puzzling place, I think. But maybe all of these little remarks that I have for this building could be absolutely out the water, and maybe all these little tiny happy faces inside this building could be burrowing some deep traumatic trauma deep down inside them, and their souls are absolutely aching. But that's just a simple guess.
Maybe it's not the building itself and actually the course. So it begs to wonder, despite the space, what do students think of their course?
Okay, thank you so much for being a part of this interview. I'd like to recognize you're an architecture student who's formerly attended to do their bachelor's here and now doing their master's. Absolutely wonderful stuff. Tell me, what is that like? Not so bad?
Masters is great. It's not everything that I expected it to be, but overall, having a positive experience so far, and I'm keen to finish it and get started and do what I'm gonna love.
Honestly, at this point, like, I've given up. I've given all, like, it's horrible. Yeah, life is just going downhill.
How would you say your first year of bachelor's went?
My first year of bachelor was a disaster. I couldn't do anything. I was pretty concerned about it, but when I was there, I made some really good friends my first year. I took 6 months off and came back fresh and ready to do it again. And since then, it's been really good.
It was actually better than masters because, like, you come to uni and all you, like, on every level, you see, like, your friends. You always see, like, you know, familiar faces, and you, like, are sort of, like, in it together. Like, it's like ride or die sort of thing. Like, I don't know, you're sharing the same experience of this horrible architecture, you know, vibe. And when you see, like, when you're struggling together, it's quite, I don't know, it feels better than struggling alone.
Would you say you're happy with where bachelor's and architecture as a whole has led you?
I think so. I think I knew where I wanted to go when I came here initially, and it's not what I envisioned it being, but I couldn't imagine myself doing anything different.
Fuck no. Fuck no. Yeah, that's my answer.
What would you say is your overall goal in terms of progressing in the field and industry after you've completed your master's?
I try not to set too concrete goals because I know they might not go as planned, but I always wanted to have my own practice at some point, and if it's not that, then I'm sure I'll come up with something that's interesting that I enjoy.
Well, initially it was just like get it done, you know, like finish uni and then get, you know, work, and then just that's it pretty much, or, you know, start my own firm. But at this point, especially after doing like prof prac, I'm like thinking, I don't know, everyone's thinking like, is it even like worth it to just finish masters? Yeah.
Now, for audience back at home, what words of advice would you give to those aspiring to do architecture school?
I would say pursue it if you have a passion for doing it, but be ready to like change your decisions and be open to altering what you think you might want.
To be honest, like, I don't know, if you enjoy it, do it, but I feel like you shouldn't do it. Do business or some shit, you know? Like, I feel like you'll get more out of that. Unless like you're really, really into it. I don't know, like sometimes I see the first year students, I'm like, I don't know, I just laugh at them. I'm like thinking, what have you got yourself into? But yeah.
Well, thank you so much for that insight into what goes around in Building 100. Truly
That's right.
Wonderful stuff. Well, thank you so much for that.
When are you coming back though?
To what, for what?
You know, to do your masters, you know, like old time's sake. You know, like come in the morning and then do work all together and then go home at like 12. When is that gonna happen? You know, come here in the morning, do studio together and then go home. Kevin, so when will you come back?
I don't think I will. I think my own persuasion of this building isn't solely my architectural insight, nor just the stories I have heard. It's deeper, rooted in a strange feeling, trauma, joy, fear, and, well, awe. This building, this space, a heart I once shared isn't the same anymore. And whether people think it's ugly is far from any relevance of what goes on inside. Where students once shared ideas and friends once shared memories, and I too once felt living in a dream, are now vacant seats and cold awakenings of a blissful dream I once had. But I know now, nothing waits for me there. Architecture school is not for the certain, the ones with fixed and rigid onset of what they wish to achieve, nor is it for the ones with great buckets of doubt, uncommitted to what they wish to do in life. I believe this building, one many ridicule and look with disgust, enables students to become something better than they once believed in themselves. This building, this course, are to those who choose to change, to hold on to aspirations and not simply sail wherever the wind takes them, but make the most with it. If you do architecture school, don't let it belittle you down to rubble. Be driven, be determined, never lose that shine. And maybe one day, you'll look back at those times, be that very same person walking down the street and go, boy is that a ugly fucking building.